Tonight on Business Live, fuel tanker drivers call off 5-day strike after meeting with the Ministry of Energy and the National Petroleum Authority, NPA. We have a discussion ahead. Also, crude oil prices fall to around $94 per barrel on the global market, but a researcher says prices of petroleum products may not go down significantly at the pump.
Consumers is a good thing because we continue to see, and of course we anticipate that to the end of this year, you'll be seeing a dwindling oil prices. We may see prices come lower than the $90 per barrel, hopefully even before the first half of August ends.
Plus, making state-owned enterprises financially independent. State Interest and Governance Authority urges firms to register consecutive profits so as to refrain from relying on government for support.
Ghana Reinsurance is one of the companies in Ghana, special entities in Ghana, that has consistently paid dividends for the last 20 years. We at SIGA really admire and appreciate what they've done.
And later in the bulletin, second clinic of EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair underway at the West Hills Mall. We'll be there live.
Have a built-in microwave here. It's optional. You can also have it, but you don't need to have a built-in. It's very optional. Basically, what we do is we design to suit your taste.
We have this and more coming up in the next 30 minutes. Please stay with us. I am Beverly Broohm. Hello and welcome. Let's settle down for the details now. Now, the price of crude oil continues to fall as the commodity, which peaked at more than 130 per barrel in March 2022, has given up all the gains triggered by Russia's war on Ukraine, falling to around $94 a barrel. If this continues, prices of petroleum products on the local market will see the biggest reduction in the next pricing window on August 15th. But according to researcher with the Institute for Energy Security, Fritz Moses, this significant reduction may not be realized due to the cedi's continuous depreciation against the dollar. He spoke on the marketplace.
Well, of course, like I said earlier, I mean, what we are seeing is the global economic recession that many US economists prefer we don't see, and that we are anticipating. We see how the economies around the world, in US, China, in UK, are all facing a downturn in economic activities with inflation rising, and how that would affect demand. We see in US especially, there's been a decline in consumption of gasoline, that's petrol. The API, that's the American Petroleum Institute, reported an excess of 4 million barrels of gasoline inventory recorded in just the last ended month of July. And so it points to the fears of analysts and traders that demand certainly is falling. We are seeing, however, in Europe, although we are seeing a fall in demand for oil, and gas especially, the focus is now on oils. And so, whereas gas demand is falling in Europe, we are seeing a shift to oil demand. Countries like Germany are increasing their reliance on oil-powered plants or units to meet up the energy demands. Also, of course, you see how in Europe currently they've been able to reduce their reliance on Russia's gas by some 50% and increase their LNG imports by some 100%, I should say, from 70% of their total imports to about 39% there. Of course, imports coming in from Algeria, Azerbaijan, is what's accounting for these increments. So the current economic situation, although not very favorable for the oil market, it's for oil traders and big oil corporations, IOCs. For consumers, it's a good thing because we continue to see, and of course we anticipate that to the end of this year, you'll be seeing a dwindling oil prices. We may see prices come lower than the $90 per barrel, hopefully even before the first half of August ends. If that should be the case, then
okay,
that we will continue to see. We may see prices at the various points marginally reduce, but depending on the situation of the local currency against the US dollar.
Joining us via Zoom with more is petroleum strategist Dr. Youssef Suleiman. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Does this decline have anything to do with OPEC's announcement of a quota hike? And what's the reason for the decline we are witnessing now?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to our cherished viewers out there. Yes, indeed, this is certainly going to be a bit of a refresher, or a bit of a good news to the downstream side, because hitherto what we have seen is that once the downstream side, the upstream side is gathering momentum with oil prices within the 3-digit figure, that is 100 plus. The downstream side is always going to be something going to be very hot, and that's how come we have most of the pumps, globally actually going very, very high, in Ghana, not an exception. Now, this trend, is this a trend that has to do with OPEC plus cuts? Yes, it has everything to do with that, though I will call this a bit of a sentimental drop, or a bit of a speculative drop. When I say speculative drop, it means that a drop that is not very certain. We need to give it some time frame to be able to see the impact of OPEC. And usually before every OPEC meeting, we do have this kind of trend coming up where we do have a lot of uncertainties. Nobody knew how the meeting is going to span out, So after the meeting, before the meeting, actually, it dropped. Brent, which is our main benchmark, dropped around 94. And as we speak now, it started climbing gradually again, though marginally. Now we have Brent around 95 to 96. So, and the trend is actually going up again. So that's what I'm saying. It's very early days here, to be able to tell how much impact will this be. We just have to give it some time. And like my earlier colleague mentioned, our case is a bit dicey because we have a lot of variables that are coming to play to be able to determine what the consumer pays at the pump. So even if probably the pumps, the global market is dropping and our exchange rate is not doing well, we might not have that much significant impact at the pumps. However, I think it's better to give it time to see how this will, this will impact the downstream side. Yeah.
But is this downstream things sustainable? The downward trend, so, is it sustainable?
Yes, that's an interesting one. Nobody will stick the neck out and tell you that these prices are going to go down continuously like that. It's not going to happen. It may not happen. It's going to. We're going to give it some time. And I'm saying that because if you look at, the factors that are keeping the oil price as it is now, the downstream the downward in the downstream will only sustain if we have a very much good control on the upstream. Bear in mind, what keeps the downstream from going up, from going down, is because of the global prices, apart from our exchange rate. I don't want to say that exchange rate, let's say we'll hold exchange rate, we'll hold taxes. Then we'll talk about the global oil prices. So what is keeping global oil prices are three things. Number one, the rate at which the economies are opening. It has opened to the extent that we hadn't had that much of investment going to the downstream side, upstream side to beef up investment. So the whole thing about the upstream, why the upstream is burning out and we still not to be able to control it, is because of the quantum, decrease in the kind of investment after the COVID. Investment hasn't gone back. And let me just give you a brief history on this, why it is very dicey to tell. If you watch closely, let's say first quarter of 2020, we had the market collapse. And the market collapsed because COVID was just coming. The market collapsed with even WTI going to negatives. So OPEC came together and said, okay, let's make some supply cuts. So they took about 10% of global supply out of the basket. That was about 9.7 million, barrels of oil per stream day. That was huge. So that kind of ration has been there, and that amount of oil hasn't gone back to the market. It is just this month, the end of this month, that kind of ration is ending. So yes, a lot of people were expecting that OPEC would have gone like a quantum leap. But of 100,000 barrels of oil increment to the global basket, I think it's not something that is going to have impact on the downstream side. So yes, it is difficult to tell at this moment whether this downward trend will sustain. It will only sustain when we have robust investment coming back to the global oil community, where we have investment coming back to the upstream, and we invest more into the upstream to churn out more oil. And then when also OPEC members, especially Saudi Arabia and UAE, if Saudi Arabia and UAE can beef up, because they are the only people with a credible capability to be able to add up to the global basket. If these two players are not able to add anything to the global basket, I'm afraid that we may still see high prices, at the downstream side, at the upstream side, and that will automatically impact the downstream, yeah.
But with regards to projections, what are we looking at in the coming days?
Yeah, so in the coming days, once the downstream side, the upstream side sustain, let's say if you have it below the 3-digit figure, and we have some bit of stability within the exchange rate, then there's nothing else to keep the oil price, there's nothing else to keep the downstream from coming down. So my expectation is that if you are lucky enough, the downstream will come below 10, but it's not a certainty. Like I mentioned, it's a caveat. Once the upstream is not very stable, and remember, the upstream is not very stable because the factors that I talked about, that is keeping this upstream prices as well. The factors are still right. The factors are still very much right. We haven't had a quick resolution to Russian crisis. The only thing I can bet my prediction on is if we have a very quick resolution to Russian crisis where this supply chain bottlenecks are the bottleneck. I mean, the bottlenecks within the supply chain that we have, if we solve it, and then we can have a bit of certainty within the Russian supply to the global basket, then we can say that, okay, this price at the upstream will stay around 95. But as I said, as I speak to you now, yesterday it was 94, today again it is 95. So we just need to, the stability of it will depend solely on two things. The stability or the volatility, how much the stability will be at the upstream, whether we can have it at 95 or below 3-digit figure for a period of time, for an elongated period of time. That's number one. Number two, also, whether we can have a bit of stability within our exchange rate. If any of these two things don't hold, so I don't think the downstream is going to be, the downward trend is going to sustain. But we hope that it will sustain because, there are some positive signs. Right now, I think Europe is being impacted so much because of these sanctions and then the counter sanctions that Russia is also placing. So I think those kind of bottlenecks have been relieved. And I think Russia now, oil from Russia may possibly go into the market freely. I'm just saying that it's a possibility. And if that becomes a possibility, I think we might see more downstream coming down. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was petroleum strategist Dr. Youssef Suleiman. Away from that, the Director General of the State Interest and Governance Authority, Edward Boateng, is urging state enterprises to register consecutive profits in order to declare dividends for the government. According to him, that is the only way in which such entities will stay competitive and refrain from depending on the government for financial support. He was speaking at the launch of the 50th anniversary of Ghana Reinsurance. There's more in the following report.
Ghana Reinsurance is one of the few state enterprises that has been recording consistent profits for 20 years. Director General of the State Interest and Governance Authority, Edward Boateng, therefore wants other state enterprises to emulate Ghana Reinsurance, whilst its success story becomes a case study for students at the university. He spoke to Joy Business.
Ghana Reinsurance is one of the companies in Ghana, special entities in Ghana, that has consistently paid dividends for the last 20 years. We at SIGA really admire and appreciate what they've done, and we believe that the case and the story of Ghana Reinsurance should be written so that it can be studied in the schools, it can be studied by leaders of special entities as to how to get results. On their 50th anniversary, we congratulate past and current management. Invariably in Ghana, most of the time when a new leader comes, they don't continue what the other leader has done. What we've learned today at Ghana Re is exemplary. Each leader has built upon what the previous leader has done, and that is what we expect all other leaders going forward who are managing SEs to do.
Board Chairman of Ghana Reinsurance, George Otu, for his part, expressed his excitement that Ghana Reinsurance has become a global entity with offices in Morocco and Kenya. He told Joy Business that stakeholders of the insurance industry have contributed to the success of Ghana Reinsurance.
But over time, it has expanded into other parts of Africa, particularly in Kenya, to serve the East African countries, and also in Cameroon to serve both the French-speaking country and part of the Anglophone West Africa. Recently, we have also established an office in Casablanca in Morocco to cater for the northern part of Africa. So we are a global company doing business of giving capacity to insurance companies across Africa.
Ghana Reinsurance was established with the primary objective of providing reinsurance capacity for the local market.
Businesses operating in the financial sector have been advised to take advantage of cloud service to enhance digital solution. This, according to stakeholders, will ensure security and efficiency, particularly in the financial sector. The following report has more.
The expansion in Ghana's payments and banking system, stakeholders have called for a more secured way in protecting data in the financial sector. Some experts have pointed out that cloud services provide the best ways to secure data in the financial sector. Speaking to Joy Business at the launch of the Alibaba Cloud in Accra, WASP Digital Grant Weber said financial service providers in Ghana must begin to adopt new technologies to make the sector more robust.
If you're a fintech, if you're an e-commerce provider, if you're providing retail services, and your particular client sector that you want to target. So everything is immediate, it's scalable. And what I mean by that is you can pay for what you need today as you go, and as the business grows, so you expand the technology behind you.
On his part, Executive Director of the Institute of ICT Professionals Ghana, David Gow, stressed that small businesses must leverage government's digitalization agenda to grow and expand their operations.
The entire government agenda in terms of promoting digital inclusion requires also infrastructure. And one of the key infrastructure is cloud solution, because then it becomes easy for small businesses to be able to connect, big businesses to be able to transform from the paper system to the cloud system. Even banks and other corporate organizations that currently have their servers, with their racks and everything, will be able to now move all those things safely onto a cloud solution, and they will be saving some costs when it comes to when it comes to their infrastructure in terms of storage.
Now, the second clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is underway at the West Hills Mall. The exhibition is providing an opportunity for prospective homeowners to acquire and purchase all household needs at one place. Maxwell Agbagba joins us live from the West Hills Mall. Maxwell, how are things shaping up over there?
Here at the West Hills Mall, where the second clinic of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is taking place. We've had a number of people, many people, coming here after work to come and see what the various companies and exhibitors here have on offer. We have a rep from DBS Industries here with us. You know, when we talk about DBS, the first thing that comes to mind is roofing. But they are also engaged in a lot of concrete products and concrete mixing, right? Yeah. So one of their representatives said, what's your name?
My name is Bismarck Champo.
Okay, Bismarck is going to tell us more about what they have on offer here. One particular thing that is intriguing for me, it's your premix concrete, right? How does that work?
The premix is also known as the RMC. Okay. That is a ready-mix concrete, and it is used for all concrete works. So we have the slabs, we have the foundation level, and we have the decking level. Okay, with the concrete, we have different classes of concrete. We have the C15 to C50, depending on the type of work that you want to do. So we recommend each class for you at every point in time. Okay, so with the premix, this is what happens. It's mixed already in the car. It comes with a shooter. So there are two options. If you know the volumes that you need, you don't need to worry yourself. Just give it the volume that you need and the class of concrete you need. We do a pro forma invoice for you. You do your payment, we come to your site, and then voila, we go. And with the RMC, the most facilitating part of it is that it doesn't waste time. Within a short period, you have casted everything. And it takes time to dry. Within a few minutes, it is dry, and then you move on. Yeah.
That's interesting. DBS Industries Limited will be coming to you for more because we know you have a lot on offer here. Any discounts? Are you giving any discounts here?
Yeah, with the concrete product, the price is very affordable. So when it gets on board, then we have a package for you. But with the roofing, I can say with authority that we give 10% discounts offer from this stand. Yeah.
Earlier we're at DBS and we're talking about trusses. And you know, mostly wooden trusses are what are used to support the roof in the building industry. But DBS Industries, they don't have steel trusses, and they're advocating the use of that because they say it's environmentally friendly. Their steel trusses are also termite proof. It's also fire resistant and all of that. It's one of the things that they're advocating here. Let me speak to a rep from Blue Rose Limited. Blue Rose, tell us, what do you have on offer here?
All right, so we are real estate developers, and we provide properties ranging from one-bedroom expandable, two-bedroom terrace, two-bedroom semi-detached. We also have the three-bedroom semi-detached and the detached, and the four-bedroom detached. We also provide quality and affordable housing units for everybody. Yeah.
You have some discounts. Earlier you were talking about some discounts that you have. How much?
So if you are able to purchase a house from today to Sunday, we'll give you a 10% discount.
10% discount?
10% discount.
From now to Sunday?
From now to Sunday.
Only available here at the West Hills Mall?
That is it. That is it. That is it.
Any house at all?
Any house at all. 10% discount. Yeah.
Definitely be coming.
We'll be expecting you.
Thanks for talking.
Thank you too.
Okay. So from Blue Rose Limited, they are giving 10% discount, and as we heard him, many of the exhibitors here are doing same, equally doing same. We've been interacting with them, and they tell us that that is because this is the Habitat Fair. This is the second clinic of the Habitat Fair. They tell me that if you come to their offices, it's likely you're not going to get, a discount. But if you come here, you get a discount. DBS is giving that. Blue Rose is giving that. Some companies I interacted with earlier, many of them are also giving that. Interplus Limited. Hi. What's your name, sir?
I'm Lawrence.
Okay. What do you have on offer here?
We have an offer of 10% discount when you visit our stand. So we have UPVC windows and doors. So I can show you. This is a basic sliding window. Sliding window which have multiple locking systems. Unlike the other ones, we have only one locking system. But ours have multiple locking systems.
So this has multiple?
Yes.
Okay.
Depending on the height of the window, the locking system increases. That's how we have. And we have the...
So that makes it robust in terms of security, and all of that.
Yes, yes. It's not easy for someone to break through this window. And we have the tilt and turn window too. You open at the same time, you can tilt at the same time on one opening. So we have three basic colors: white, gray, and beige. And this is the sliding. So you open, then you...
That's our man Maxwell Agbagba coming to us live from the West Hills Mall. Is the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. Make your way there for all your housing needs. We take a break here on Business Live. We'll be right back. Please stay. Thanks so much for staying with us. We are sorry we're unable to bring you the story about fuel tanker drivers calling off the 5-day strike after meeting with the Ministry of Energy and the National Petroleum Authority. But that's how we wrap up on the bulletin with me, Beverly Broohm. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good evening.